And it's a good morning to the Gelding and Gelding. We're back at Sandown after not being used for many, many, many weeks. We're back at Sandown again on the Lakeside track. And I suppose it's good to have racing back at Sandown, isn't it?
Good morning, Professor. Good morning, listeners. 3 weeks. Within 2 weeks, you got 3 meetings at Sandown. With Caulfield being unavailable, what a fantastic resource to have at your fingertips to be able to rely on and get some good racing. As we know, Professor, with the MRC, their plans were to get rid of it, but they're now not doing that, which is good. But do you think the Blue Diamond will be at Caulfield or Sandown, Professor? Because I did get an invite from the MRC to breakfast with the stars at Caulfield for the Blue Diamond Day.
Oh, your membership must be a different colour to mine, Gelding. I didn't receive an invite.
Oh, I'm sure you might have. It's the 18th of February. Professor, we might have to pop down at 6:30 in the morning to see a bit of track work at Caulfield. So
it'd be rather enjoyable, wouldn't it?
How can it be safe to have a crowd there to watch breakfast to morning track gallop and it not be safe on a Saturday at the races?
Well, I've got another question for you, Gelding. The MRC are holding a Super Bowl barbecue, come one, come all, at the track as well. So how can they hold that?
Yes, well, interesting. Again, interesting. So, and we've still got the circus tent still up at Caulfield, and so things are still happening there.
That's Santa's kingdom, Gelding. Yes. Santa hasn't gone home yet.
No, it is a racetrack, isn't it? It is a horse racing track, isn't it?
Exactly. Exactly. All right, Gelding. So Sandown Lakeside, it's a 10-race card. The first at 12:15, the last is at 5:35. 2 feature races on the card today, Gelding. Race 5, the Chairman's Stakes. It's a Group 3 for 2-year-olds over 1,000 metres. And race 9, the Jeffrey Belmain Stakes. It's also a Group 3 for 4-year-old and above mares over 1,200 metres. Gelding, the Jeffrey Belmain Stakes usually is held on the same day as the CF4 Stakes. The committee's still changing the races around.
The time-honoured race, unlike a committee to funnel around with races on a program, Professor, isn't it?
Well, another beautiful thing is race 5, Gelding. Don't think that's part of the quadrella, is it?
Might be a bit early. Does it fit in the early quaddie? Maybe, Professor. Who knows?
Who knows? Anyway, I did a bit of research on the Jeffrey Belmain Stakes because it's not a time-honoured race. It's only been the Jeffrey Belmain Stakes since 2012, and before that it was the Hyderabad Race Club Plate.
Right.
Going back to 2000, it was a listed race in 2000. Winners, Road to Arataki, that's running today, Gelding, trying to make it 2 in a row.
Yes.
And the only other notable horse that I saw that had won the race is Probabile, who won it in 2022 and 2021.
Good horse, Probabile. A fine Group 1 horse, Professor.
Yeah, very nice. The track's a good 4, Gelding. I would expect that to be upgraded during the day, given it's going to be in the 30s. And rail. Guess what? When I looked it up this morning, guess where the rail is?
It's out there.
I don't know. It had N-A, not available.
Oh, I've got in my form guide that it's out 6 metres, Professor.
Well, there you go. See?
From previously being out 3 metres, goes out another 3 metres from today's meeting. But they've got plenty of track there to work with at Sandown. So, yeah.
Well, all I can suggest is that racing.com update their website, because I just had a look just now and it's still rail not available. So if you're putting bets on, you'd like to know that, wouldn't you?
One would have thought that if the trainers have to get their scratchings in by 7:30 of a morning, that Racing Victoria could get where the rail is by 7:30, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, it's 10 past 10, Gelding. I don't think it's going to go up today. All right, Gelding, what are your two best bets for today's racing?
Well, Professor, we've been having a run of placings of late. So yesterday I was able to sit down for a couple of hours and I was looking for horses with certainly good winning strike rates and horses that are currently on a roll. So the two horses I've looked at today, in their last 7 races, they've won 6 and run second once. So these are winning type of horses that hopefully can continue their run today. In the first, Professor, I thought I'd have a tip just to beat you. But Jamie Carr, or Jamie Mallon, and is returning after riding yesterday at Sha Tin in Hong Kong on the Chinese New Year meeting. Her and Blake Shin both rode over there and returned to Melbourne today. So I'm hoping that Jamie Mallon can get us away to a good start on horse number 7 in the first, New York Cluster. This horse has won its 2 starts back from a spell, Professor. 6 starts for 3 wins, 50% win strike rate, coming off a win at Flemington, Professor. Before that, a win at your track at Seymour. And Seymour was a bit of its favourite track. It's won 2 races there, and then one at Flemington, and hopefully Flemington will be very similar to Sandown today on the Lakeside track, and Jamie Carr can get this 5-year-old mare by Manhattan Rain over the line. Just in the black colours at $2.05 at the moment, Professor. So, look, I think that might be a good way to start off our parlays. I then like in race 8, Professor, the Sportsbet race replays, number 6, Revelia, Professor, race 8, number 6. So you think 4-year-old Gelding, again, has 5 starts, Professor, for 3 wins, a 60% win rate, won its last 2. Again at Seymour, and last start at 1 at Sandown on the hillside. So, look, hoping that horse can repeat again, Professor. Again, round about the $2.20 mark. So, my 2, although short, Professor, have got great winning strike rates, and hopefully they can continue today. So, I like race 1, number 7, into race 8, number 6. And you like, Professor?
Yeah, Gelding, I'm going a little bit later than you. My first selection's in race 5, one of the main races on the card, the Chairman's Stakes. As I said, it was a Group 3 for 2-year-olds over 1,000 metres. I like in this race, Gelding, number 8, Bon Vista, coming out of Barrier 1. There's no form. It came second in its last jump out during the week. 2-year-old filly Schnitzel's a sire, Gelding, and as we know, everybody wants a Schnitzel.
A pretty expensive Schnitzel, Professor.
Yes, purchased for $1.25 million at last year's Magic Millions sale, Gelding. That'd be so. Why didn't Mick Price write to us and ask us to be involved?
It'd want to be I don't think Mick Price actually brought it. I think a bloodstock agent brought it and gave it to Mick Price to train.
Oh, okay. That's why we didn't get the email.
That's Gelding. Probably why we didn't get it. But, geez, Professor, I don't know. It's a lot of money, isn't it? $1.25 million.
It is. So they'd be expecting big things, Gelding. It was drawn to run in last Saturday's Blue Diamond preview, but was scratched because they did a scope on it and they found some mucus in the scope. So they decided to take it out of that race and run it in this one instead. So great each way odds, Gelding, at $11.270. Also being ridden by Jamie Mellum. So we're hoping for Jamie Mellum double today, Gelding. And, of course, one of our former trainers, Mick Price, and also with Michael Kent Jr. They're in career form at the moment, 16% over the last 50.
Yeah, going very, very well. I wonder how our trainer's going, our current trainer's going.
Well, we haven't heard from him.
Over the last 50, Professor.
We haven't heard from him, Gelding.
Yeah. Be nice to hear, wouldn't it?
It would.
Yeah.
All right, my second
one?
Yeah, my second selection's in the other main race of the day, Gelding. Race 9, the Jeffrey Balmain Stakes, Group 3 for 4-year-old and above mares over 1,200 metres. I like in this one, Gelding, horse number 3, Fancify, coming out of barrier 4, had 13 wins for the very good strike rate of 7 wins and 3 placings. So 54% win rate, 77% place rate. It's in a weaker class in today's race. It's won its last 2, including the Group 3 Hong Kong Jockey Club Stakes at Flemington on Cup Day. It was considered to run in the Group 2 Westbury Classic at Ellerslie in New Zealand last week, Gelding, but they decided to run in this one instead. That race in New Zealand last week was won by Conasana, which ran third to Fancify in the Hong Kong Jockey Club Stakes. So that was a Group 2 race. So it just endorses, I think it endorses the form, Gelding. You can get $8 and $2.60 at the moment, Gelding. And so I would imagine that's because there are other fancied runners in the race. Joe Bowditch riding, and of course trained by the South Australian trainer Michael Hickmott.
Professor, getting a very open type of race, but certainly good form. Can you tell me much about the sire? Nigeria.
Tell me all about it.
Question without notice for you, Professor.
Yeah, question without notice. I'll bow to your thoughts about Nigeria.
No, I don't know anything about it, so that's why I thought I'd go to the source, Professor.
Well, Gelding, it's funny that you mentioned that because when I looked at it, Nigeria, I thought, oh, well, I do a little bit of research. No, I haven't got time today. Gelding, I almost had you covered if I had. Yeah, but your question without notice got me today, Gelding. So
beautiful.
My 2 for today's races at Sandown. Race 5, horse number 8, Bon Vista, into race 9, number 3, Fancify. And let's turn to the Professor's Parlay, which wasn't successful last week, Gelding. 3 points, a measly 3 points in the NBA was the difference between us winning and not winning. Tropicus, of course, came second. The Grizzlies beat the Pelicans, and the 76ers unfortunately upset the Cavaliers. The 76ers are on a bit of a march at the moment, Gelding. They'd won 4 out of 5 before that, and they've won the 3 since. So they've won 7 out of 8. So that's pretty good form. I didn't think they'd beat the Cavaliers though. So the parlay is currently 2 wins from 5, so we're at 40%. Which
still a good race.
Still good.
Yep, still good, Professor.
All right, so today, Gelding, the agreed bet of the day is race 1, horse number 7, New York Luster. And we'll parlay that into, and I know you won't like this, Gelding, but we're going for Newcastle to beat Fulham in the Premier League.
Yes.
Newcastle currently 5th on the Premier League table. They've won 12 of 23. They've got a plus 14 goal difference, and that's what I like, Gelding. The Fulham team from Craven Cottage, they're at 10th. They've only got a plus 3 goal difference, and they've only had 8 wins. So at $1.70, Fulham at home looking very good. And we'll parlay that into, we're going back to the NBA. We're going to have another drink out of that trough, Gelding. Mm-hmm. And this time we're going for the Irish, the Boston Celtics, to beat the New Orleans Pelicans. The Celtics currently 2nd on the Eastern Division. They average scoring 117 points a game. They only allow in 108. The Pelicans, who we bet against last week and were successful with, Gelding, they've only won 12, having a season to forget. They only
Yep.
usually score 109, so that's not going to get it done against the Celtics. The Celtics are $1.17, so I think they represent very good value for us. So it's race 1, horse 7, New York Luster into the Boston Celtics to beat the New Orleans Pelicans into Newcastle to beat Fulham.
Well, I can't really complain, Professor, because you were successful with your last bet with the soccer. So let's hope that form continues, and maybe to be discussed next week.
Yeah, it'll all come out in the wash, Gelding. There's no doubt about that.
It will indeed.
Yeah. All right, Gelding. Well, until next week, and that's racing. It's good luck.
And good punting.